Hey girl, hey.
Hey,
How's it
can you
going?
hear me?
Yeah.
It's going. Nova's in my lap, sleep. I think she's asleep. I don't know. She breathing hard, but yeah,
So she breathing hard.
she earlier when we were on the phone, she was playing and stuff. Now I guess at night I guess it gets a little different for her, but she's laying on me now. So can you hear
Mm,
my background? Probably not. So that's good. Um, but yeah. So it's been a rough last hour. Try to give her medicine and stuff.
Hey Tori,
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
How's the classes been going?
Everything has been going good. I've been in the Security Plus, and then I just started this one last week,
Oh,
so everything is going good. I don't make it home in time for the GRC one.
hmm.
Yeah, so
At least you go and watch the videos.
yeah.
Okay. We're gonna wait till about 5 after, then we'll get started. Hi, Trail.
Hello.
We're gonna wait until about 5 after, and then we'll get started in Trail.
Okay.
Okay, close enough. How did you guys do with your workbooks? How many controls did you get through as far as researching and figuring out what you need to ask for?
I have 40. Now, are they
Good
correct?
Lord, girl, wait a minute. Did well, okay, we're gonna come. Make sure you join my office hours at 9. Okay.
Okay.
Um, okay, so you got 40, Tori. How did you do?
I did all of them, but I don't know if it's correct. So
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry, we're gonna go through it. Okay, so today we have Miss Ashley on the line. She is an active cybersecurity engineer. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. She does have a small child. So just bear with us as we need a live engineer, and Miss Ashley was more than willing to help us. So no, 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 don't mind Nova if you hear talking in the background. But Miss Ashley, if you can just introduce yourself, let the girls know who you are and what you do for during the day, and pretty much what we'll be doing.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Moore. Yeah, I do have a small child. I think she's asleep. Hopefully, she stays asleep. Um, she's sick right now. But yes, I'm a cybersecurity engineer for a credit union. So basically, now I have kind of like multiple roles actually. I'm kind of dibbing and dabbing in vulnerability management. I manage our SIM. I also I'm like the backup to the information security manager, so I kind of handle those supervisory tasks at times. And I'm kind of like I just kind of put out fires all day. Like I may start working on one thing and then something comes up, and since I'm like senior, I'm the one that usually hops on those things and kind of like I really kind of just take over sometimes, I think. But a lot of researching and trying to figure out ways to make things more efficient, more productive. So that's usually how my day goes. I'm most of the time kind of collaborating with other teams as well, whether it be like the server team, desktop team. So kind of well-rounded there. And then tonight with this class, I'll be basically I've kind of started on getting some screenshots provided for the different access control items. So I'll be able to kind of show you all that. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So before we get started, intro, Tori, did you have any questions? Because again, we love mentoring, right? So Miss Ashley is here. If you guys have any questions about her journey or cybersecurity engineering, we want to make sure that we get those questions out of the way because once we get started and rolling with the evidence, we'll probably run out of time for that.
Okay. Because I did have that question. How did you get started in your role?
Okay, so yeah, I actually I came in, I had no prior experience. I was working on my master's in management information systems and I had
Mhm.
recently gotten my Security Plus. So what other than like schooling and then just like training for training for the Security Plus, that was really the only knowledge I had other than just, hearing about cybersecurity. So with those items and also I had done like Splunk has like a free training where you can
Mhm.
become like a core I think it's certified user or something like that.
Mhm.
I did that on my own and I put that on my resume along with other little like Udemy classes and Cyber classes that I had done. Um, and then I got an interview for a cybersecurity analyst role at this same credit union that I work at now.
Okay.
And they saw that I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Oh no, I was just saying, wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was crazy because I was like so like thrilled that they chose me. But they saw that I took the initiative to learn things on my own, and that was like
Mhm.
big. Especially with the Splunk thing. They really like, okay, you did that. So I had to like show my certification and everything. And I got the role as cybersecurity analyst. I was actually the first analyst on the team. We now have what two no well three analysts. I started in 2020 when COVID hit hard, so I didn't meet my boss for like months because he was remote and I was in the office. um but I started out there, and from there I was nervous every day that I came in there, but I asked questions and I just, basically showed that I was interested and I wanted to just take the initiative to learn things. And
Mhm.
doing that, it helped me get promoted to cybersecurity remediation engineer within a year and a half. That's where my focus was vulnerability management and patching. I love that. I love getting numbers down. I love taking care of things, researching and figuring out problems and solving them. And then I got promoted to cybersecurity engineer, and that's the role I'm in now. So it was quite a journey, it has been. And like I said, they're all for advancement, and they saw um, like that I wanted it. So I always like tell people like just show that you want it, like show that you're interested, learn new things, like just taking the initiative will go a long way. So that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Okay.
Did you have prior technical knowledge before going to school?
Other than like on the job, like just learning things, and I went to like a technology magnet high school. Other than like things like that, I didn't have any like help desk or any other type of IT experience other than just trying to translate the skills that I already had into a technical background. But other than that, no, I didn't. Not really.
So just basic user friendly, like computer use, would you say?
Basically, yep. And
Okay.
then like things that I had learned just in like training for Security Plus and like in my college classes.
Okay, that's impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, it can be done.
You are like that unicorn person.
My
Like
boss tells me that. He's like, you're just kind of resilient.
that's awesome.
Okay, any other questions? All right, so if no other questions, we're gonna go ahead and get started. You guys notice our cameras aren't on. I had a rough weekend, and we are working from home, so cameras won't be on. Um, if you guys can, again, this session is for you guys, not for me. I'm not going to actively share my screen to walk you through it because you learn best by doing. So I'm gonna trade off, right? So in trail,
Mhm.
since you've done most of them, the bulk of it, and I know you was probably up, for long hours, working
Between
hard at
this
it, I'm gonna let you
and
go first. Um,
AWS cert, yeah,
yes,
it's
yes.
that's been my life.
Mm-hmm. So,
All right.
um, so if you can start with the first control, what I would like for you to do is let Miss Ashley know that you are working on an audit and go then from there in your own words. Because again, I'll critique it, but I want you to, get used to just this is what I have to do, so I got to figure it out type thing. Because that's what happens on the job, literally.
Right. Right.
So just for you do AC2, and then I'm gonna have Tori do AC2 1. We'll just bounce off of each other.
Okay. I'd like to kind of explain my thought process, how I put this together.
Okay.
And a lot of it is, you know, woo, the GPTs were working hard, they were working overtime. I started playing around with ClickUp. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's a new toy. So what I did was I went in and made sure I had a good prompt. That was like the first, my kind of first stab at it. I took what we did last week and I went back and rewrote it and rethought about, okay, who am I? So I rewrote the prompt as like who I am, what I'm doing, what I'm looking for. I loaded the I went ahead and loaded the whole NIST 853 uh, that PDF in and asked for a few things. I said, the environment is Azure Cloud, and I need to map the relevant access controls along with any control enhancements. I had to go back and add that because at first it just did the access controls. So I said, also include any control enhancements. And I also asked for this specific the control definition. I said, where did I have it? I asked an explanation in easy to understand language that a non-technical person would know, kind of everyday language. Because I want to be able to, just say, kind of how it has it in here. And I did, the rest of the columns from the spreadsheet, where this policy typical, where this lives, and then the type of evidence to be requested. And when I did all that in Gemini, and then I ran it again in ClickUp's AI, and I asked it to look at the output that I got and suggest anything that that I might have missed. Since it's my first time doing this, I'm like, does would this be more helpful? Did I do a okay job of covering what would be needed to work with someone that can provide me the evidence? So it said that I had a good start, and it suggested adding a couple columns. So that's what I did down here at the end. Columns of like the evidence format, location, date range, frequency, sample size, selection criteria, the system tool owner or contact and control owner, responsible party, and then the status notes. So that's kind of what I did for, well, that is what I did for the spreadsheet. And like I said, I've been diving more into AI and to really be able to understand how I can use multiple chats to not only find what I'm looking for, but to confirm that what it's returning is true. So that's why I kind of had to go back and look over it. So anyway, looking at AC2, said I did, tell me I put in there that we're Azure mobile platform, so it gave me Azure AD. And then the control definition, the plain English version, is managing users. So I define process for hiring, creating accounts, firing, deleting accounts, and assigning access levels. And then the policy is the access control policy. The type of evidence that I would ask Ashley for is a review of the Azure Active Directory, which is Entra ID, audit logs. So verify, select a sample of new hires and terminations, confirm accounts were created and disabled within the time frame defined in the policy. And it's funny because this is one specifically that I was doing when I left my last job. I was actually working with the team because one of the projects that I was an agile coach for, they needed this information. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, that was what I was doing. We had to go and confirm that like one of our QA analysts had left, and we had to go and confirm that their account was disabled within a specified time frame. So we had to do a screenshot, and like this one, uh, that's the suggestion, a screenshot from the Azure portal audit logs from the past 90 days. So that was, like I said, that's my thought process of how I worked through the sheet.
Very, very, very analytical,
Yes.
which is a good thing.
To
So
a point, yes.
yeah, so but I mean you get the basic, that's the understanding, right? Is you just need to be able to understand what you're looking for, and you did that. So at this point, how, like right now, you just need to ask Miss Ashley for the evidence. Now keep in mind, this is a practice environment. We're not actually going to give you our logs from Kyora IQs, but she is going to give you like a subset to show that Entra ID is configured, deployed in the environment. So now you just need to be able, again, to be able to articulate to Miss Ashley what you need.
Okay, so I would need, yeah, like I said, a screenshot, or if there are logs from Enter ID, the audit logs, showing just a sample. It doesn't have to be everyone, but if we get a sample of people that were hired in the last 90 days, and also ones that were terminated, just to make sure that we say, I'm just going to use this example, 24 hours, especially those termination
Okay.
dates that they were turned off 24 hours after their termination date.
Okay, so I don't have any terminations per se, but I think I can show you from the audit logs from the last 24 hours if that's doable. Let's see here. Pulled it up earlier. Now she's awake, wanting to grab my
Of course.
my headset. Let's see.
And rather than doing a screenshot, because I don't know what information is actually going to be on there, we could just do a screen share real quick
Oh, okay.
if you want.
Okay. I actually, let's see. Let's see if this is. I just did like a screenshot in PowerPoint. I don't know if y'all can see that, but
Okay, yeah, that's good.
can you see that really well? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, good. So that's good. So
Nice.
that's exactly what, if you were doing like a side-by-side audit with third party, they'll, be able to do a screenshot with you and show you the audit logs.
Mhm. Cool.
Oh, dear.
So good. So that's this type of evidence is what you would need. You would take back and you would put it in your list of artifacts for the evidence captured. Typically, you'll have like a quality assurance team who may review the evidence and just say, "Hey, maybe I need a JIRA ticket to match, someone that was disabled." Of course, we don't have a big environment. There's nobody
Right.
getting disabled or terminated within 24 hours. So excuse me. So they would go back, verify it, and maybe match it up with the JIRA ticket, and then go from there.
Okay.
So
And
it's
then
as simple as
this
sorry.
would also satisfy, because this one has AC2 4. So this would also satisfy that one, correct? Because that one says the paper trail, the system automatically records every time an account is created, changed, or deleted.
Yep, for the audit logs. And remember, I
Mhm.
told you guys that will happen, is that some of the
Mhm.
evidence for one will be the same evidence for
Right.
another control as well. So you
Okay.
can just put like on your log sheet, right? Because we
Mhm.
we said that you're going to do like extra columns. You can say received log evidence for AC2, received log evidence for AC4, for the received by is Miss Ashley, and then you can
Mhm.
put today's date.
Yep. Done.
And Tori, you do the same thing. You make sure, even though you're not doing this, you're following along, because that's how you learn.
All right, so you said in the evidence received, we need to
Mhm.
notate that receive log evidence and put AC24.
You can no for you can just put received log evidence for Microsoft Enter ID log evidence, and then you can also put it for AC24, that control on line 8, I believe it should be for you. You do the same thing. You just put received log evidence from Enter ID or log analytics. This would this be from log analytics? Did you get this from log analytics, Ashley, or was this actually from Enter ID?
On try to.
Okay, so yeah, so you can put receive log evidence from Enter ID.
What are you laughing? Oh, silly.
Intro, I'm not familiar with the term. How would
Enter
that?
ID is the access management tool that Azure uses, is Microsoft Enter ID. So it's ENTRA ID, Entra.
Okay.
Okay, so good job, Entrail.
Thank you.
Just completed your first receipt of some evidence.
Woohoo.
in your practice environment, your home lab. But what I liked was that you were able to correlate it with what, like an example of what you did on the job as well. Because
Mhm.
again, you've seen how you were able to articulate, what happened and what transpired on the job. Like the more practice you get, the more fluent you'll be able to speak about, and then it'll just come off the top of your head during an
Right.
interview on when they say, well, can you give me an example of this, or have you been ever been a part of this. You'll have
Mhm.
examples for them.
Okay.
All right, Tori, it's your turn after you're done filling that out. You'll do AC2 1.
Okay, give me just a second.
And keep in mind, there's going to be, especially when you get into GRC engineering, there's going to be a lot more evidence, right? So role-based access controls implemented, provide evidence and privileged access management is in place. All of that may be relevant for AC2, but this is just fundamentals is what we're going over right now.
Okay. All right, so Ashley, I'm working on an audit and need to gather information to support the Azure environment. We're gonna start with AC21, and so I don't know if that person would be familiar with the description off the top, so I'm just gonna state the description, which is automated tools are used to manage user accounts instead of relying on manual processes. The policy is access control policies. And the evidence that I need is an automated account management system implemented in the environment, or Azure AD sign-in logs, or Azure AD audit logs, or Microsoft Defender for cloud, or Centennial alerts for abnormal account behavior.
Okay, so I use GPTs as well, and it did say as far as this control would be like automated provisioning, and it suggested using the provisioning logs, which kind of like show that whenever users are put into their subsequent groups, it kind of provisions those logs based on that information. And we don't really have anything to show there. But if there's anything else I could probably show. Mm,
Microsoft Enter ID actually uses like the assignment of roles in the admin portal, which Miss Ashley
I have one for that.
wouldn't have
Um,
access to.
Let me stop sharing. I think I may, because Nathan did give me a little more access. Let me see.
Okay.
Those.
So would I have to name all those things, or will I just say, give me what you have? Like, should I name just one thing, or should I?
So what you'd want to do is you want to ensure that you're stating exactly what the control states, because like you said, we may not have something provisioned for automated account management system, right? But there are going to be Azure AD sign-in logs. There's going to be Azure audit logs. So yes, you will have to name each of them if you are aware, right? And sometimes the engineer will come back and say, well, did you want this? Did you want that? If they're like a seasoned engineer, like Miss Ashley said, like this is typically what this is asking for, but we don't have this provision, so let me give you an alternate, right? So an engineer will come back and say, well, we also have this, do you want that? And then you can also add that in, or they'll say, we don't have that, we have this. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
And then will I have to like always state like the control name and with the description?
Yes, so I do. Whenever I have an audit, what I typically do is I put, like, say, for example, if I'm doing AC21, I'll do, hey, Michael, it's that time of year again. I need the following controls and the evidence. So I'll do control AC21. The description is, use automated tools to manage user accounts, and I'll just do like a brief, like a summarized version, right? And then I'll say, the type of evidence that we have maybe have requested in the past is X, Y, and Z. Can you please provide this no later than February 15th? That's the type of what, like an email, because typically they have a couple of weeks. We're not sitting on a call with them.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Miss Ashley.
Oh no, no, I was just gonna say I did have a screenshot of the roles and uh ooh, the roles in Entra, if that helps a little bit more. And then I can if you need to see the assignments, but yeah. I was so little girl.
So would this suffice for 27 and 21?
Go ahead, say that one more time.
Would this what she's showing the screenshot, would it suffice for 27 and 21?
Okay, hold on, share your screen because I didn't complete my work.
Because right now I see the
Or did I need to stop sharing?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Short yours for what, A27 asked for.
Say that again.
Can you share your screen for what, like your workbook, what you filled out for A27? Because I don't, my workbook's not filled out, so I don't know what A27 said.
Oh, I was let's see if it shares. I can give it to it just a second. Having some technical difficulties. I'm clicking on it, it's not doing anything.
That's okay. Intro. What does A27 say on your workbook?
It is admin rules, so special rules for super users, admins,
Okay,
like
so role-based
requiring extra
access.
approvals. Yes.
In privilege access management. Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
And then I believe that's what Miss Ashley was showing was the
Hmm.
ability to configure role-based access controls. And she said she'll
Yeah.
be right back. So yeah,
Yeah.
so like I was saying, Tori, just with like in trails with her evidence, it accounted for AC2 1 and or AC2 and AC24. So you're going to have evidence that overlaps for the various controls. So for
Okay.
your AC2 and AC27, will probably be the same evidence. That's fine.
Yeah, because it's yeah, screenshots.
Can
Uh
you can you show me that screenshot again so I can notate?
She had to step away real quick.
Oh, okay.
But she'll be back. But yeah, it's going to be the same thing. The Microsoft 365 Admin Center is a management platform that supports automation, but it mainly is your foundation for being able to create, modify, and delete user accounts.
mhm.
And then from there, in order to make it truly automated, then you would end up integrating it with like the lifecycle workflows for like intra ID governance, PowerShell, like an HR system integration that
Mhm.
automatically terminates user accounts, stuff like that. But that would be your base, right? Because we're doing just fundamentals so that you guys get a basic understanding and then an explanation so that in the future you guys know how to navigate through it. So in the future, what you would want to do to ensure there's some automation is maybe there is a Jira ticketing system, right? So maybe there is the company has a policy that employees are terminated within 24 hours, but how does that kick off, right? Where's the automation that makes it so that it's not a manual process? So it may be a Jira ticket that's created to cancel or terminate an employee for whatever reason, and that the JIRA ticket will have a process in which management needs to approve and people need to
Mhm.
go through. So as you go through approving the ticket or closing out the ticket or whatever, that's where people are then either going in and kicking off, steps,
A
or maybe
job.
there's an automatic, yeah, not a job or automatically triggering a job to go in and terminate, to create an action. And ServiceNow, Jira or ServiceNow or another ticketing system may help with that, some of that automation. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So how would I describe this particular screenshot as far as like the evidence?
So you would just say received role-based access controls from Microsoft Entra ID. Or I mean, like for me in particular, in my specific role, you literally just say received a evidence for AC2-7, like, or AC2.7. Like you don't even describe it. Like someone looks at the evidence, validates that that's what it's for, and then moves on. So it just depends on what the company is going to require.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
Tori,
can
you have
we?
any more questions about yours?
So what do I put down for 2-1?
It's the same thing. So
It's the
it's
same thing.
yeah, it's the same thing. So it's gonna be the same evidence, right? Because the evidence can overlap. So you just say received evidence of role-based access controls and intra ID for account management.
Got it. All right,
Actually,
thanks.
really good practice because you guys are getting really familiar with Microsoft and Azure. So on your resumes, you can go in there and update, familiarity with a Microsoft Azure cloud.
And then they'll change the name of Enter ID again. Then you
Right.
have to scramble.
Or you just say Azure. You just familiarity
Yeah.
with Microsoft Azure cloud. Okay, Tori, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right, and Trail.
All right.
Let's go with AC2-2.
Okay. For this one, I have auto cleanup. If a temporary guest or emergency account is made, the system automatically deletes it after a set time. So the evidence that will be requested is to actually watch a guest, create a guest user in AD with a defined expiration, and then verify by checking that the account is automatically disabled or deleted once the expiration date passes. So is the, would we get screenshots of that? Would maybe timestamps? Would that?
So for that, you can get your screenshots of the configuration.
Okay.
But we're doing screen share right now, so
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
it depends on the environment. Again, if it's third party, they're gonna do screenshots. They're not actually gonna give you their, I mean, they're gonna do screen shares. They're not actually gonna give you the evidence, so we'll just do screen
Mhm.
shares. That's fine.
Okay.
But right now, what she's showing you on screen is the actual area in Azure where you'd actually go and
Mhm.
make that configuration for the users if they're gonna,
Okay.
if it's gonna be a temporary account or whatever.
A temp user. Gotcha.
Yep. So this is what it would look like on the back end.
Okay.
And so for the evidence, you would just say received, evidence for AC 2 parent 2, or you can say
Mhm.
received evidence, configuration for creation and automatically disabling for a temporary account. Because you see how she has it highlighted for you, like all users, no results, and then it says user type equals guest. So that's where
Mhm.
you make that configuration, is ensuring that it is a guest account. And then she has like on the second line, guest users have limited access to properties and memberships or of directory objects, I
Directory
think is what it says.
objects.
So
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
where it's going to be configured to make that happen. So this is evidence showing that, the capability is it.
Okay. So I guess I do have questions. So Ashley, would you go in and do you configure these?
So I didn't configure this, but whoever the global admin of the environment would be, they would go in and
Okay.
set up everything.
They do it. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, so keep in mind, this is just practice environment. So none of this stuff is
Right.
actually going to be configured. But when you're in a large
Right.
organization, it would be a cloud security engineer that would go in and configure this stuff.
Okay. I
Or
think
if they have like an
that
identity access manager, then that
right.
person can go in and configure it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm fighting with AWS. Not fighting with it
Mhm.
because it's actually pretty straightforward, but okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm. All right, Miss Tori, you ready?
Yeah, can you give me that one more time? I'm writing out for you said receive evidence of configuration and what else did
Oh,
you say?
received evidence of configuration. Uh, guest user accounts can be configured and automatically terminated.
Okay.
You can just say in Azure.
Okay. All right, so the next one is gonna be AC23, and the description is user accounts are disabled after a period of inactivity. It's gonna be in the access control policies. Um, Provide evidence of inactive account policy. Azure AD user activity reports. Log showing automated or manual disabling of inactive accounts.
Of course, Miss Ashley not gonna give you every piece of that of what you requested,
Yeah, I was like, that's a
but she's
lot,
gonna,
but
yeah, she's gonna give you a subset.
So when it comes to like policies and stuff, is that something we just look up on our own and say, yeah, the company has this policy in place?
Okay, now that's a good question because there are two different policies. There's a physical policy, right? Like that access control policies with what you should and shouldn't do. There's also configuration policies. There's policies that you configure on the back end in a tool itself that is considered a policy as well. Does that make sense?
It does. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's a policy like don't allow IP addresses from Germany. into our organization, configure that on the firewall. That's a policy,
Mhm.
right? That's not the same as your access control policy. That's a physical document that lives in your intranet. Just be aware there's two different policies. So what Ms. Ashley's going to give you is a screen share of the policy, and I already forgot what AC23 was about, but whatever that's.
Use it or lose it. Like 90 days,
Yeah.
their account shuts off automatically.
Okay, so yeah, so the 90-day termination will show the ability to be able the ability to configure that in the environment.
I was gonna say, and this may be a little bit better. The access review, we don't have any, but okay. Okay, she's okay. Um, access review packages where they basically set up the access and kind of automate how the access works based on, you know, whatever their setup is or the review package is. So, I mean, there's nothing there, but this is probably a little bit more detailed.
Yep. So access reviews typically in your access control policy is going to be every 90 days that you do an access review. Now, the
Mhm.
thing about this is that most times your information system security officers are not going to have access to Azure to even set up these access reviews. So typically what the cloud engineer has to do is the cloud engineer has to set up the need access review. So Miss Ashley, can you click on that plus sign for the new access review?
Yeah, this is so-
So it's a review access to a resource type. So what's going to happen is when you configure this, you'll select the details on which type of access reviews. So let's say every 90 days you need to review all offshore users. Those are going to be, they're going to be in role-based access controls, right? So for offshore users, they're going to have their own um, roles, right? So you'll go in here and you'll set up that configuration so that every 90 days, the system automatically pulls a list of all um, offshore members. And
Mhm.
then what that cloud engineer will be responsible for is sending it over that list. Maybe it's a CSV. They'll have to send it over to the information system security officer. The information system security officer will then compare that list to, whatever the active list of offshore users there are. And then they'll verify, kind of do like a cross check to see, who has been active for the last 9 days. And then they'll send it back over and say, okay, this person, this person needs to be deactivated, if so.
Mhm.
But this is where you would go in and configure the automated pull.
So how should I word this one?
So you can just say receive screen share of the ability or configuration to uh, automatically terminate user accounts after 90 days. And we're being descriptive only because we're learning, right? And in,
Mhm.
in a real environment, again, you wouldn't even be descriptive like that. You would just say received evidence AC2-7 or whatever it is, it's going to be in the artifact section. So what happens is like typically, let's say you have an audit and you're reviewing 300 controls. That's a lot of controls to
Mhm.
keep track of the evidence. So what you do is you have like a SharePoint site, and in that SharePoint site, you'll have like folder 1 for AC27, folder 2 for AC278, whatever it is, And then you'll put each evidence that you receive in the individual folders so that it's clear where everything sits.
And
Yeah.
then, like you said, you'll do when it's time for the next one, you'll say, well, last time, you provided this,
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
All right.
that's exactly how that works. And then again, this is fundamentals. This is still what a lot of organizations do. who don't have GRC engineering in place, who don't have any type of tooling in place, who don't use a lot of automation. There's still many organizations out there like that, which is why I'm teaching the fundamentals as opposed to going and using a tool, right? Because there are ways to make this much more faster just by, going in and writing scripts to be able to produce the evidence automatically. Which, by the way, if you guys are interested in learning SQL, scripting, automation, that is definitely an upskill for a GRC analyst and a skill that's in demand for GRC engineers. Um,
Scripting.
yeah, for SQL, yep, learning a language. Okay, who did we just?
We just did 2, 3, but we said that we already covered 2, 4 also with
Okay,
the
so
first one.
okay, so let's do 2, 5.
All right. So for 2, 5, I have timeout. It's pretty straightforward. If you walk away from your computer or phone, it logs you out after a specific amount of time. So after a few minutes to test, log into the mobile app and leave it open for 15 minutes or whatever the configured time is, and then verify that the app forces you to re-authenticate either a Face ID or PIN or whatever it's requesting to continue. So with this one, and it's funny because the evidence format that was suggested is screenshot or video of the timeout, but I mean, it's,
Just if you want to test it yourself, if you have
yeah,
access to that application. But in this
right.
case, Miss Ashley's just going to show the configuration to,
Yeah,
you know,
to set
timeout
the
activity after
timeout.
5 minutes or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if this would completely, I guess, fulfill that, but this does kind of correlate to risky users. So I guess those individuals who were doing those things would be, would show up here. Let me see if I can, something a little bit more. Let's see.
It would be under the conditional access policies.
Was I talking? Could y'all hear me?
No.
Oh, I just realized it. Okay. Oh, I was saying, so it's under the same section I was under with the risky based users, but this is the conditional access policies, and it kind of lists the policy names, and you can apply those as needed.
Can you search timeout and see if it will come up in there?
Let's see. Accounts.
Be
I think it's
conditions,
clients.
control sessions. Oh, you're right.
Account.
Count log out.
See if this.
Mm.
until account automatically unblocked. And so that's an account lockout for if they're trying to access the account and there were so many failed attempts.
Mhm.
But there should be a conditional access for user activity as well.
Let's see. Here we go. Push controls. I'm still the same. Sign-in frequency. See. Pulls up to the same thing. And I know we don't have much access.
Access. And from there, Oshi. And then from there, play.
See, protection, conditional access. Think. Policies. Section. I might be.
So for the conditional access, I'm going to share my screen for just a minute. Because you have to go and configure the policy in here. So when you go into Microsoft Entra ID in the Azure, you'll go under conditional access and overview, and then you'll see the session, and this is where you would configure that session timeout. You'd have to do it under a new policy over here. So you'll have sign-in frequency, persistent browser sessions, customize continuous access evaluation, disable resilience defaults. So you'll configure it over in this area, but this is for sessions. And you'll just configure it after 5 minutes or whatever. But for your guys' evidence, you'll just write received screen share of, configuration of inactive activity after 5 minutes. Like in a live environment in an organization, that will be configured somewhere.
Okay.
And for your guys's just edification, what we were doing is engineering, right? So I
Mhm.
know, I don't know about you guys, but when I first started, engineering was scary to me, right? Because I'm like, I don't know how to build nothing. I don't know how to write scripts or code or any, but being able to go into the back end of that environment and configure those policies, quote unquote, and to those configurations and activity after 5 minutes, that is engineering. But you see what the user interface looks like. It's
Mhm.
very user friendly. So not all engineering positions are scary.
I know how to set up phishing campaigns.
So
I've
we
wormed
have
my way into that.
nice. So we have 1 minute left. I have to start the office hours so we can work on resumes. But does anyone have any last minute questions before we end this call? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through each and every control because the more, again, the more you talk about it, even if it's not the full on evidence, the more
Mhm.
you talk about it, at least you have an idea of what to expect, what you're looking for. And for each of them, you learn something new, right?
Right.
What is session activity timeout? What is access controls and role-based access and privilege access? The more you talk about it, the more you get familiar with it, and then more natural it becomes when you start, getting into other discussion topics,
Okay.
because it all comes together at the end of the day. It makes sense. So any last minute questions before we end this call, and then we're gonna do this next week. We're just gonna continue on, fill out your spreadsheet, until we have all of our controls done. Now, keep in mind, this is just access controls. We're going to go through
Mhm.
all of them because GRC, that this is literally what you're going to be doing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, which is
Mhm.
why I say upskill. And you want to eventually, you'll get bored with it eventually, and you're going to want to venture out. So,
Mhm.
but this is a good place to start.
Great. Thank you.
All right, good
Thank you,
stuff.
Ashley.
Yeah, thanks,
You're
Ash.
welcome. Y'all have a good night.
All
All
right,
right,
you too.
I'll too.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye.